the Aiyuk factor. No extension yet. They drafted a wide receiver. He said it was a fire pick, but he wants an extension. It seems like he's prepared to hold out. They have a replacement in case he does. How do they make this work with Brandon this year? Do they have to give him an extension, or can they get him to come back and play on the final year of his rookie deal and get a motivated, locked-in Aiyuk?
Well, BA, if he does hold out and come back, he's gonna if they do a 5th-year option, I expect him to hold out. Some. I don't know how long. Some. But one thing I like about BA is that it's going to be a contract year if that's the case, right? So he will give it his best, and he's the kind of player I trust to give it his all no matter what the situation is. He's going to be in phenomenal shape. He's going to go out there and do his thing. So I could see them 5th-year option. And again, there's a reason why they have 11 receivers on the team right now. I think that's an insurance for that situation. I hope they just work out an extension for him because, we talk about how much these wide receivers are getting paid, and, maybe they give him $25 million a year. I could see, possibly they want more, but I think they could probably get this done for $25 million a year. That's my guess. I could be wrong. But at $25 million a year, by the time his contract actually hits the salary cap, these receivers are going to be getting $32 million a year, $35 million a year. So it's going to be a bargain, and I don't even know if he's in his prime yet. So for me, I would try to get Aiyuk fully on board and build around that, right? Brock Purdy, Brandon Aiyuk. That's, to me, what they should be doing as far as the future is concerned. But I also think the Niners will 5th-year option him if he's not reasonable in what he wants. If he wants $30 million, I probably would 5th-year option him. That's what I would probably do.
Like, that's what I'm saying. I feel like the Niners have made it clear that they want him for life and that they've made him an offer. And they would pay him a lot of money, but will they pay him exactly what he wants? And if not, what happens? And I think maybe Aiyuk felt that he had some leverage. Like, if you want to win the Super Bowl this year, you better make me happy, because if you try to make me play my 5th-year option, I could hold out for a quarter of a season or half a season and really torpedo the season. And then you would have sort of cut your nose off to spite your face. You didn't pay me, and now you don't get to win the Super Bowl. So I hope you liked saving some money. But now the Niners can say, like, well, all right, well, if you try that, we got a 1st-round pick to play in your position, and he went to the same school as you, and he runs the same routes as you. Like, we're good with him. So if you want to play hardball, we're prepared. You can come back, and you can take this extension that we've offered you, or you can play for your 5th-year option. Maybe this just gives the Niners more leverage.
Yeah, it does. It gives them a hedge, if nothing else, right? They have a backup plan. Hopefully one of these guys works out and can do 85% of what Aiyuk does. I think, it was a good sign that Brandon Aiyuk group texted Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch when they drafted Pearsall and said, fire pick, not going to lie. So at least, they're communicating and it's not completely soured. So I would expect they've worked something out. I would say 70% chance they work out an extension for Brandon Aiyuk. 30% they go on a 5th-year option. That would be my guess.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're Brandon Aiyuk and they're offering you what's the guarantee going to be? If they give him 4 years, $25 million, how much is the guarantee going to be on that? What do you think? $60 million, roughly? Yeah. If you're Brandon Aiyuk and you have an opportunity to sign a contract and make $60 million, that's option A, or hold out and hopefully you do that next year. That's hard to pass up to me. Like, give me the $60 million. I'm good.
I think they're going to make him. I think he's going to play at the 5th-year option and they're going to trade him. But I've been wrong about this all year. I thought they were going to trade him in the draft. I just don't think the Niners should pay him the contract extension. And I don't think they want to, which is why I think they drafted 2 wide receivers. Because again, like these wide receiver contracts are disgusting. They're so expensive, and it's not just for Hall of Fame wide receivers. It's for guys who've been to 1 Pro Bowl or 1 All-Pro team. Like, if you have Justin Jefferson, by all means. But if you don't, you still got to pay $30 million a year for Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Hell no. Yeah.
Hell no. I would just rather draft a wide receiver. Now, I wouldn't want to reach for one in round 1, but like, Look what the Steelers do. The Steelers rarely re-sign their wide receivers. Not that they're the greatest organization of all time, but they hit on wide receivers in the draft all the time. They're disciplined about it. They don't take them in round 1, they take them in round 2 and round 3, and they generally don't re-sign them for big money because it's freaking expensive and you can get good ones in the draft who produce pretty quickly.
Same reason why they didn't trade Brandon Aiyuk or unable to trade Brandon Aiyuk. That's what I tweeted out. Like, what GM is going to pay $30 million and give up a first round pick for Brandon Aiyuk when you can just draft a guy? Like,
paying him $30 million is tough enough to swallow. No diddy. Yeah. So that right there.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think at $25 million, it makes sense for Brandon Aiyuk. It's going to be a bargain. At $30 million, I don't know. I don't know if I would. I'd probably fifth-year option the guy.
It's just interesting if they would do the fifth-year option and try to play hardball. They have to make sure that he's locked in and not a malcontent and not a divisive force in the locker room or whatever, because he's so important to them potentially winning the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, and that's the leverage he has on them, right? He can hold out and miss a lot of games. I think he can miss 8 games, and he could be a jerk if he wanted to and make things awkward in the locker room. So $25 million, no question. You got a great player who's probably not even peaked yet for the long term. He does everything you want. $30 million, you're like, dude, you're forcing our hand. We're going to fifth-year option you. That's how I would look at it.
Is this not what happened to Chase Young last year?
Oh, you mean with what? With the Commanders?
Yeah. Was he on the fifth-year option there?
I don't know. Chris Young.
He was drafted 2020. So 2020, 2021, 2022.
Chris Jones.
No.
Chris Jones held out, and they finally paid him on the Chiefs.
Yeah.
That's
true.
Yeah, it pays. It's better for everybody if they just come to agreement on a dollar amount. And there's ways you can structure the contract where it's not even really hurting you as much. I would figure it out, and I think that's what they do. I give it a 70% chance.
It just seems like when Purdy is making big money, you're going to need to spend on offensive line, and it's hard to spend big money on offensive line, quarterback, and wide receiver. Those are the 3 most expensive positions.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to sacrifice a wide receiver and draft well. And the Niners just took 2, so they're planning ahead. But
and here's the thing, Grant. I've come to the conclusion. Tweeted this out the other day. They're not going to replace Trent Williams through the draft because the only place you find a Trent Williams or not even a Trent Williams, but a starting left tackle is early in the draft, and they're not going to have losing seasons and be there early in the draft. They're not going to trade the arm and a leg to move up in the beginning of the first round. When Trent Williams retires, they're going to find a guy that they can either trade for or like they did for Trent Williams, or they're going to sign an expensive-ass left tackle in free agency because left tackle is the only position they really value on the offensive line. So they're going to be.
I got another one too, another prediction. This brings us back to the beginning of the show. They're not going to replace Jake Brendel with a rookie. They're not. Look at the centers they've had here. Weston Richburg, Alex Mack. They want vets.
Yeah.
It's another reason they passed on a really good player who would have made sense at 31 for a wide receiver.
Yeah. I can see that as well.